A baby lies on a blanket, only 3 months old. It cannot speak, it cannot walk, it does not understand a single word being said around it. It has no idea what a joke is, what comedy is, what funny even means. And then someone leans in close and the baby laughs. A real laugh. Bright, involuntary, whole-bodied. Think about how strange that is. Before this child can form a thought, before it understands anything about the world, it already knows how to do one of the most complex social things a human ever does. Nobody taught it, it just arrived, fully built, waiting. Because laughter is not something you learn, it is something you inherited. Most people assume laughter is about humor. Something is funny, so you laugh. The funnier it is, the harder you laugh. Comedy comes first, laughter is the response. That is not what the science shows. When researchers actually started recording where and when people laugh in real life, they found something that did not fit the story at all. A psychologist named Robert Provine spent years eavesdropping on thousands of everyday laughs in malls, on sidewalks, in conversations. And he discovered that most laughter has almost nothing to do with jokes. People laugh after lines like, "I'll see you later," or "Are you sure?" Banal, forgettable things. In ordinary conversation, the person speaking usually laughs more than the person listening. We laugh to fill space, to smooth a moment, to signal that we are friendly. He noticed something even stranger about the timing. Laughter almost never interrupts the middle of a sentence. It waits for the end, slotting neatly into the pauses, as if some part of the brain is holding it back until the words are done. Laughter, it turned out, is not a reaction to comedy. It is a social sound, and it is wired in deeper than we ever assumed. Just how deep became horrifyingly clear in 1962. In a village called Kashasha, near Lake Victoria, 3 girls at a boarding school started laughing. Nothing was funny. They simply could not stop. Within hours, it spread to their classmates. Within weeks, 95 of the school's students were caught in fits of laughter that could last hours, even days. The school was forced to close, and then it left the school. It moved into the villages. Before it burned out, it had touched around 1,000 people and shut down more than a dozen schools, on and off, for over a year. Now, scientists are careful about this one. They do not think it proves laughter is contagious like a yawn. They classify it as a stress response, a kind of mass psychogenic illness, where the laughter was a symptom, not joy. The girls were not having fun. Many were exhausted and frightened by it. But that is exactly what makes it chilling. It shows that laughter can erupt with no joke, no happiness, no decision behind it at all. It can pour out of a human being entirely on its own, which forces an uncomfortable question. If laughter isn't really about being funny and isn't always even under our control, then what is it? Where did this sound come from? To answer that, you have to follow it backward, past jokes, past language, past humanity itself. The first clue is uncomfortable, and it involves tickling. Tickling is the oldest trigger of laughter we have. A baby laughs when tickled long before it laughs at anything else. And tickling produces something raw and involuntary, a laughter you cannot fake and cannot stop. There are actually 2 kinds. The first, scientists call kinesmesis, that light, itchy, creeping feeling when something barely brushes your skin. A feather, an insect, a thread. It does not make you laugh, it makes you flinch and brush the spot. And almost every animal has it, because it is a simple alarm. Something is crawling on you. Get it off. The second kind is different. Gargolesis, the deep, heavy tickle that makes you shriek and writhe and laugh helplessly. That one is rare in the animal world, and it hides a secret. You cannot do it to yourself. Try it. Nothing happens. And the reason reveals something deep about how the brain works. When you move your own hand, a region at the base of your brain, the cerebellum, predicts exactly what that movement will feel like and cancels the sensation out before it reaches you. Brain scans show it directly. When someone else touches you, your sensory cortex lights up. When you touch yourself the same way, it stays quiet. Your brain is constantly muting the feeling of your own body, so it can stay alert to the touch of something else. Tickling only works when it is a surprise, when it comes from outside, from another. And notice where you are most ticklish. The neck, the armpits, the ribs, the soft belly, the insides of the thighs. Those are not random spots. Those are the exact places you would protect in a fight. The vulnerable points, the ones a predator or a rival would go for. This is where researchers think the real story begins. Tickling may be a form of mock combat, a safe rehearsal of attack and defense, played out between parent and child, between siblings, between friends. You go for the vulnerable spot, the body flinches to protect it, and the laughter signals something crucial. This is not real. We are playing. You are safe. Laughter, in its oldest form, is the sound that says the threat is fake. And that is why this story does not start with humans. Because we are not the only ones who laugh. If you tickle a young chimpanzee, it makes a sound, a breathy, panting, rhythmic noise with its mouth open in what scientists call a play face. Tickle a gorilla, a bonobo, an orangutan, and you get versions of the same thing. Darwin himself noticed it back in 1872. For a long time, people dismissed this as just noise, not real laughter. Animals don't laugh, we told ourselves. That's ours. Then a researcher named Marina Davila Ross decided to test it properly. She tickled the babies of every kind of great ape, recorded the sounds, and analyzed their acoustics. Then she built a family tree based purely on how the laugh sounded, and that tree matched the genetic family tree of the apes almost perfectly. Think about what that means. The laughter of a chimp and the laughter of a human are not two separate things that happen to look alike. They are the same sound, slowly reshaped over time, branching apart exactly as the species branched apart. Human laughter has an origin date. It traces back to a common ancestor we shared with the other great apes, somewhere between 10 and 16 million years ago. Your laugh is older than your species, older than walking upright, older than the human face, and it goes further down than apes. Tickle a young rat in the right spot, and it produces a rapid, high-pitched chirping, far above the range of human hearing. The rats seek it out. They chase the hand that tickles them. They make the same sound when they play, when they are about to be fed, when they meet a friend. A neuroscientist named Jaak Panksepp spent years documenting it and concluded what once would have sounded absurd. The rats are laughing. And it is not just apes and rats. When researchers went looking, they kept finding it. By recent counts, at least 65 different species make these play sounds, the same kind of vocal signal that erupts during rough and tumble play or tickling. Dogs, dolphins, parrots, even cows. All over the animal kingdom, when a creature is playing and feels safe, it makes a sound that says so. So this thing you do, the thing that feels so personal, so human, so tied to your sense of humor and your wit and your taste, is a behavior we share with creatures that have been evolving away from us for over 70 million years. Laughter was never ours. We just inherited a very old sound. But here is where the human version did something no other animal managed, and it may have changed everything about us. Listen closely to how a chimp laughs, and you hear one sound per breath. In and out. In and out. Panting. It is locked to the rhythm of breathing because the ape cannot easily break that rhythm apart. A human laugh is different. We take a single breath and chop it into pieces. Many separate bursts riding on one exhale. That sounds like a small thing. It is not. Because controlling your breath like that, slicing one exhale into precise, repeated sounds, is the exact skill you need to do something else. Something the chimp cannot do. Speak. Provine argued that this is the hidden link. The breath control buried inside human laughter may be tied to the very ability that let us develop language. The chimp is trapped in pant. We broke free of it. And the same freedom that turned the apes panting into our ha 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 may be part of what turned grunts into words. The thing you do without thinking, the laugh, might be a cousin of the thing that makes you human, speech itself. But that still leaves the biggest question. If laughter began as the noise of rough play, why did evolution keep it, sharpen it, and place it at the very center of human social life? The answer has to do with a problem our ancestors faced, a problem of glue. Most primates hold their groups together through grooming. They sit and pick through each other's fur, and it feels good because it releases endorphins, the brain's own opioids, the same chemicals that create the warm glow of safety and trust. Grooming is how monkeys say, "I am with you." But grooming has a fatal limit. You can only groom one individual at a time. As primate groups grow larger, there simply are not enough hours in the day to physically touch everyone you need to bond with. The evolutionary psychologist Robin Dunbar argues that this is exactly the wall early humans slammed into. Our groups were getting bigger. Grooming could not keep up. And so, his theory goes, we co-opted something we already had. We took that ancient play panting, the laughter of mock combat, and turned it into a kind of chorus. Because here's the thing about laughter that grooming could never do. You can laugh with many people at once. A whole group, laughing together, is bonding all at the same time. And it is not just a feeling. When researchers had people laugh together and then tested their tolerance to pain, something remarkable showed up. After laughing, people could withstand significantly more pain than before. Laughter was triggering a real flood of endorphins, the same chemical bond as grooming, but broadcast to an entire group in a single moment. Laughter is not a response to comedy. It is a tool for holding humans together, a way to release the chemistry of trust into a crowd without touching anyone at all. It is grooming, scaled up. The sound of a group saying, all at once, we are safe together. And this is why your brain is secretly an expert at telling real laughter from fake. There are, it turns out, two kinds of human laughter, too. The genuine, helpless kind that bubbles up on its own, driven by older, deeper circuits in the brain. And the polite, voluntary kind we produce on purpose, to be agreeable, controlled by the same systems we use for speech. And people can hear the difference almost instantly. We are finely tuned to detect the fake one, because real laughter is supposed to be an honest signal. A laugh you cannot control is proof you actually mean it. The whole system only works as social glue if it is hard to counterfeit. Which finally brings us back to the joke. Because somewhere along the way, after the panting play of apes, after the social glue of early humans, we did something extraordinary. We attached this ancient reflex to language, to ideas, to surprise. And look closely at what a joke actually does. It builds an expectation, leads you down a path, makes you brace for one thing, and then snaps you somewhere harmless and unexpected. A tiny threat, revealed at the last second to be safe. It is the same shape as the tickle, the mock attack that turns out to be play, the danger that was never real. The comedian is just tickling your mind instead of your ribs. But the laugh that comes out, that helpless bark you cannot fully control, is the same sound a tickled ape makes in the grass, the same signal a rat chirps when it plays, a reflex tens of millions of years old, dressed up in language. So think about the next time you really laugh, the kind that catches you off guard, that you could not stop if you tried. You are not simply reacting to something clever. You are making an involuntary sound your ancestors made before they were human. A sound born from being chased and grabbed and tickled in play. A signal that once meant the threat is not real. Stay close. You are safe with me. You cannot do it to yourself. It almost always needs another. It floods your brain with the same chemistry that once passed between grooming hands. And it may carry, hidden inside its rhythm, the very breath control that taught us how to speak. The thing that feels most like a spark of your own personality, your sense of humor, your laugh, may be the oldest and least human thing you carry, a piece of the animal still running underneath the person. We like to think laughter is what makes us clever. The truth is stranger. It is what still makes us a pack.